Hello people, I'm Ginnymetheral. I'm a 4th generation witch who practices old ways magic or traditional witchcraft. And today's video is a video all about one of the most common witches' signs that I and many other witches and Wiccans use on a daily basis. And that of course is the pentagram. What I really want to do is to give you a little bit of history about the pentagram and talk about its uses through the ages, how it came into witchcraft in its current format and previous format. Then we'll look at spells using the pentagram. So the first thing we need to do is look at the difference between the word pentagram and the word Pentacle, because people get them confused and they think they mean the same, and although these terms have come to differ over the years from their original meanings, in today's world the most common meaning for a pentagram is a 5-pointed star, and a pentacle is a 5-pointed star shaped within a circle. So pentagram without the circle, pentacle with. I'm going to use the term pentagram throughout this video, meaning a pentacle or a pentagram, because they are interchangeable. And quite frankly, it's going to confuse me mightily if I have to sit there going, is it in a circle, therefore is it as a pentacle? I'm just going to call all of them pentagrams. So pentagrams have been seen throughout ancient civilization. I think 3,500 in Mesopotamia. The pentagram itself symbolised the whole of the earth and the ownership of the king of that earth and everything under the sky. So that's what it meant 3,500 years ago. The ancient Greeks used the pentagram. They had it as a slightly different meaning. They saw it, especially the Pythagoreans, who are a mathematical cult in ancient Greece. I know, it's strange, they studied under Pythagoras. They thought that the pentagram embodied the most beautiful form of all. And so it was used as a symbol to show the most beautiful form of all in whatever you were talking about. The pagans of early Europe used the pentacle. We're not quite sure why. I personally think for security and safety. However, as we have no written evidence of this, nobody is sure. The early Christians likewise used the pentagram. The Emperor Constantine in the early 300s was the person who brought Christianity to the Roman Empire, because his mother apparently went out and searched for the true cross and found it, because of course a piece of wood used to hang criminals was going to survive 300 years. He had the pentagram as his original seal when he became a Christian, and the reason why he chose this is because early Christians liked the symbol of the pentacle and wore it around their neck to show that they were Christian. They said that it represented the 5 wounds of Christ. And even after the Emperor Constantine had passed on, the Knights Templar, who were the early bankers of the Christian Crusades, used the pentagram as one of their symbols for their temple. So it's got a long and august history. How on earth, therefore, did the pentagram come to be associated with satanic and devil worship? It started off with the Christian faith, who, when they were trying to spread forth their religion into the pagan reaches of Britain, for example, the British pagans worshipped horned gods. And they did have in their Christian faith this ideology of a devil, a central character who was the root of all evil. And so in order to say that paganism wrong, Christianity right, and so they said that their devil, this root of all evil, looked exactly like the horned god of those early pagans. Of course, those pagans also used the pentacle or the pentagram as their seal of safety and security. And so this became entangled with this view that if you worshipped the horned gods, you were worshipping the devil, and therefore because you were using this sign, this was an evil, satanic, worshipful sign. I think this became a little more intricate. In about the 1500s, a medieval manuscript was written called the Key of Solomon. Now this follows the Hebrew king Solomon, who was known to have dominions over the devils and demonic entities that ran across the earth. He used pentagrams and pentacles throughout in order to show you how to have dominion over these creatures and bend their will to your own. So the Key of Solomon is essentially a grimoire. It's a book of spells. It shows you conjurations, invocations and rituals with which you can control all sorts of aspects, mostly demonic in nature. Now, I do not recommend bending a demon's will to your own in any way or form, because you've no idea what the backdraft from that will be, and I can promise you it won't be great. However, the pentagram was not associated with the Baphomet pentacle before the 1800s, and this was purely to do with a gentleman called Eliphas Levi, who was a French occultist, and he was the one who claimed that the pentacle, where the point of the star, the faces due south when looking at it, meant then became the sigil of Baphomet. So this is where a lot of pentacle, pentagram, satanic worship really comes from. So then Aleister Crowley, who was a very famous Edwardian British occultist, took up the sigil of the pentagram. And he said it was the sigil for Thelema, which was his sort of cult that he set up, his religion. And this had the immortal phrase, "Do what thou wilt," associated with it. It was really with the rise of that very clever occultist, Gerald Gardner, who formulated it in the 40s and 50s into the Wiccan religion, that the pentagram really took on its full significance within that faith. So that is my potted history of the pentagram for you. As you can see here, I've got one that I've made from lavender. Lavender is a plant of love, safety and protection, and combining it into the pentagram form gives extra love, safety and protection to that sigil, hence why it's on my wall. Pentagrams in general, though, are used for safety. When I first became a demon banisher, my circle of safety that I cast around myself involved a pentagram. This was my protection in those days, and it worked beautifully. Now, that could just be because it's my intent. I'm not a great fan of saying symbols work whatever. Symbols work because people believe they work. I happen to find the pentagram a very secure and safe and kind symbol. It has kept me from harm for many years, and so therefore my intent when creating one is what I get from it. Nowadays, witches of all dominions and all areas will use a pentagram for many different things. Lots of them believe that pentagrams are representative of the elements, the earth, air, fire, water, and finally, spirit. And so they can use a pentagram in an elemental spell. You would bring each element to the point of your pentagram. Surrounded with a circle. You can then put your intent into all these separate elements and bring them together as an element spell. I do have pentagrams by my front doors, which no one can see, but I know they're there because I put them there. And occasionally I charge those pentagrams as well. And they are just a guardian, keep out evil. And they create a sort of barrier around the door, almost like a waterfall that washes away negativity as you walk through. And so I wanted to show you this particular spell, which is very simple to do. You will need some moon water. Now, if you don't know how to make moon water, I'll put my moon water spell up here for you. The spell is simplicity, obviously. Bless your moon water, and then taking some on your fingers, draw upon your door a pentacle, which is the pentagram within a circle. What do you think? As always, I am so fascinated to know, so please leave me a comment below. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps my channel. Join me on Patreon if you want to learn how to be a witch, and I will see you in a few days.